My name is Drake One Dark, and this is the podcast. Who do I have with me today? Who the fuck is here? I don't know. These people. We're here to do the podcast. This thing. Alright. Welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast number 54. I'm your host tonight, GhostRae, and here with me I've got Mr. Fusion.
Sup, everybody? I don't know.
It sounded like a beatbox.
It was your best work, that's what it was. It was your best work.
Yeah, I think that was better than some of his. Never mind, let's not bash nobody. Sweet man!
Hey!
Chaos Mana!
Hey!
And we already know Nobot's here.
No, I don't believe he's
No,
here.
he's not talking now.
I'm here.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
We're introducing you. Say hi.
Hi.
Thank you. LoZelda!
Hello!
And Ray.
No one told you to say hi.
That's because she did it of her own accord, you asshole.
No one had to sit there and stop the podcast so we can say, "Wait a minute, say hi, Ray." No,
she
she's
didn't need
on
instruction
the
on what was supposed to happen there.
Like,
It's
we've
a
been doing
whole
this for
process of meeting.
54 podcasts now. We all know when I say your name, you say hi. You don't just sit there drooling, going, "Oh, what do I do?"
Maybe it's a really good
know.
porno he's watching.
Okay, that would be
Where do I go?
a decent excuse.
I would just like everyone to know that the reason Tgjan's not here is because he's in a tarp. I don't know what the fuck that means.
What? The trap, maybe?
Did you?
I
never been in
tweeted
a
him
tarp
because I was
before?
like, "Hey, Slacker, where are you?" And he just comes back in all capital letters, "In a tarp!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
You've
Exclamation
never
point!
been in a tarp before?
It sounds
No,
cheeky,
I've not
actually.
been.
You
It
haven't
does kind of
lived
sound.
in
crazy.
a
I
tarp.
wonder if he's-
is that... I can
he's
only
another
guess
hot
that
name.
might be like autocorrect if he uses Twitter on his phone, but that's about it.
No, I'm pretty sure Tgjan Lee's having some really kinky sex right now, and that's what he's talking
That's
about.
what I'm
That's-
saying.
So
Let's- let's make that a-
to like
message
you and tell you
Let's.
You
make
haven't lived
that-
until you've been in a tarp.
We didn't say it was good kinky sex. We just said he was having kinky sex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he's could
obviously
be
he's
bored and
easily distracted.
messaging from his phone while having kinky sex. It could be really bad kinky
putting
sex.
that on my
we don't
bucket
know.
list.
So I think because he's not here, we should just be free to make up what we think is happening right now and just put that out there like it's fact. Because it's the internet, so it must be true because we're putting it on the internet.
Taria believes he may be... It's possible he's being kidnapped right now.
Oh, that's
well,
true. Then I'll
I don't
feel
think we'll put him
bad.
in a tarp. I think we'll
He's
put him
pretty
in a rug,
dumb
right?
if he's contacting us if he's being kidnapped.
I'd
We're like,
also-
where are you? Oh, I'm in a tarp. Here, I'm going to contact the Forum Thread podcast so they can tell the world, half a week later.
I don't know. I have a very
You mean
specific
tell
set of
10
skills,
people half a week later?
and I don't know who's...
And one of them smoking a pack of cigarettes in like 10 minutes, right?
I could, I guess.
I'd
I
also like
do.
to point out that even if he is being kidnapped, that still doesn't rule out the kinky sex.
No, this is
Probably
true.
more likely.
Now that's a movie I'd like to watch.
That's weird.
What?
That would be
I missed
weird.
that.
We're all over the place tonight, folks. We're sorry.
Because we're not usually all over the place.
No.
No,
Well,
our
we-
We're
podcasts are
usually
completely
very
sometimes
cohesive.
are.
aligned, very
But
cohesive.
so it's other times it just
And
kind of...
LoZelda's in a-
We'll go
he's
different
in a
directions,
station.
but kind of at the same time?
Dark's possibly more than likely. Are we? Can we say more than likely? Well, what's
Less
the
than
percentage of you
likely.
not going?
More like tarp.
I would say it's
Highly
a
unlikely?
solid, at least 75% chance that I will not be able to
still,
attend.
there's still hope there. That's okay.
I-
I passed plenty of tests on 25%. Thank you very much, curves and terrible classes. So
Maybe
I'm
we-
still gonna hold out hope. This is gonna be
Maybe
okay.
we need to fund a DarkToRTX campaign.
Oh boy.
I would be all over this.
See?
It only sounds
Do a
good to you right now
Kickstarter or
because
something.
you're drunk, LoZelda. I would tell you to go
I-
home, but you're already there.
Do a
I
Kickstarter.
think you underestimate how often I'm drunk. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this into a thing now. So I think we don't have to do it right now. You need to come up with the number that you need to get to, and I've got my hands in so many different projects on RT. I'm sure I could put together something, and
Why
we
do
will
you
get
call
your
people
ass to
projects?
RTX.
This is what Zelda
No,
sounds like
I'm
when
not-
she's scheming.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah,
like
this
it.
is. I wish you could see me because I do like a hand gesture while I'm scheming too, and I'm doing that right
It's
now
a quick
because
up
no
and
one
down
can see.
motion.
So, you're funny, except you're not.
No.
Well,
No,
okay,
we're
okay.
gonna figure this out.
So,
I'm gonna be really upset.
so
if you're not
wait.
there.
My question is, if she actually did this, are you? I mean, are you up for this? I mean, I don't know.
If she manages to pull something out of a hat, and yeah, I would definitely be able to do it then.
I'm gonna figure this out. This is my personal mission now
All
because I
right,
don't have like enough.
In that
You know
case, what would be
Dark?
the
Give her
goal?
a number,
What would
man.
be what? Would, yeah, what would be the goal to get to?
Yeah,
Just
so
work
we
out
don't
a
have to
budget,
talk
yeah.
about like numbers and logistics right now. But when
Yeah.
when we're not recording anywhere, when we're not streaming, we're gonna have an actual conversation and we're gonna figure out what the goal of this would need to be. And I'm gonna find some way to make this happen because you have to be there.
We need to get drunk together.
So,
Yes, we do.
Idea.
Sounds like.
on a separate note, I don't know what the hell
Huh?
Pet Rescue Saga is, but Facebook keeps
What?
telling me to play it. Like, every day,
Oh, it's-
7 times a
It's
day.
Yeah, like-
exactly like it's from the same people that do Candy Crush. It's
Yeah.
the exact same thing except it's like pet faces.
Pet?
I-
Are you
I
crushing
have
really
pets
young
now?
cousins
Things.
and
The
really
Michael
old
Vick
aunts
edition.
that play that game,
Yeah,
and no one
me
else.
too. That's who keeps sending me a stupid invite to it. Is my aunt. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Like,
keep
why are
I
you
keep
playing this
blocking
game?
those
Stop it!
things.
Well, just stop inviting me. I don't care what she does, as long as she just stops clicking my name and getting.
I had a couple
Just block
random
the
people
application.
on Facebook that sent me friend requests, and then they started spamming me with "play this game" or I need you to do this on this game. And finally, I started doing a 3-strike policy. If I don't really know who you are in real life and you spam me for game invites, I'm gonna unfriend you.
I got one of those
Oh.
on Skype last week, actually.
A game invite?
No, a random, like, added, like, be my friend on Skype. I was like, do I even know you? They're like, I'm just adding lots of friends. Please add me. I'm like, don't.
Yeah, it
I
was
get
a
those
bot.
on.
It was a bot.
Yeah, I get those on Rooster Teeth sometimes.
Yeah.
It's always written in really bad English, and it always starts off like, "Dear love,
Yeah.
thank you for reading this. I am in need of assistance. Please please email me so we can get to know each other. Looking forward to knowing you."
You know why they?
Like-
you know why they keep doing that though? Because people
Because
fall for
people
it.
fall for it. It's the most retarded thing ever.
Moral of the story.
And they've been
don't
doing
fall
this
for bots.
since, like, the very first year I signed up on this on Rooster Teeth. I got one of those, and instantly I knew what it was, and just deleted it. And the format has not changed at all. And I've received countless numbers of these spam requests. I'm like, well, who's dumb enough to fall for these things? Like, it's. I
Isn't there
guess.
a profile, a girl that has like something like 3,000 friends on the site? And for some reason, I think you and I had this discussion in an older podcast where at first we thought she was a bot, and because there's no activity on the account, but it keeps adding friends. I'm gonna look it up here shortly. Just talk amongst yourselves. I don't want to ruin the flow of the podcast.
There's a friend of mine who he's on the radio, like where I live, and I was driving somewhere today, and I heard him talking about this like website that he saw. That basically what it is, you like go to this website, and then it's from France or something, and you like fall off a boat, and you have to keep scrolling on your mouse to like not drown, right? And he's like, yeah, I lasted like a minute and a half. It's pretty intense. And so I went on Facebook. He had linked it, so I went and checked it out. And it's this. Apparently, it's some kind of advertisement for like life jackets. But basically, you're like, it's a video, like a live action video, and you're on a ship, like a sailboat with your buddy, and you're like kind of talking to him or whatever. And he's like, "Whoa, watch out!" And the boom from the sail hits you, and you fall out of the boat, and then you have to like keep yourself from drowning, and it's so intense. Like, as I'm doing it, I'm like gasping for air, and like, is he coming back? Like, he must be coming back for me, and like, I got so sucked into this. It's like,
No.
It's insane.
What I just learned is that your friend is an asshole and let you drown.
Well,
That's
I know.
what I heard too.
I know. I was
That's
like,
all I heard.
it's true though. Like, it's basically like, you know, if you fall into the ocean, you're gonna get tired really quick. So like, wear a life jacket. That's basically the moral. of the story.
Tired.
Yeah, like
You're gonna get much more. I grew up around Lake Michigan. You get much more tired trying to swim in a lake because it's freshwater. An ocean's got all that extra salt to add buoyancy to it.
but a
You
lot of
can't
times
tread
in the
water
middle
for a
of-
while in the ocean.
in the
You're
middle
just
of
a
the
pussy.
ocean though, it's cold, right? Your body's gonna get colder quicker.
You
the
have
buildup of-
obviously never been in Lake Michigan.
I've been in Lake
Yeah.
That
Ontario.
shit's freezing.
I've been in Lake Ontario. It's pretty cold there.
Well, there you go. Just apply that. Yeah, we're familiar with the same sort of temperatures here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, I've tread water for like an hour before in like lake water. It's not a big deal. But like, you get in the ocean, there's a lot more waves. It's splashing you around a lot. You can't see anything. Like, basically, at the end of the day, like, you're screwed unless like Buddy can stop the boat immediately and turn around and get you. Then there's not a whole lot of hope that you're gonna, you know, be rescued. Unless, I mean, if
No.
the moral of the story
I'm
is wear
pretty
a life jacket. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think you should wear a life jacket if you're in the middle of the ocean. I will give you that. But I'm also thinking your friend just tried to murder you and is going to blame it on the boat in the ocean.
No, like if
He got you
yeah.
out there, the boom hit you.
No,
it's
no,
like,
you
oh
watch- you
no, I
watch
should
the
go
thing.
back for him.
he,
Or I don't have to.
well, like Buddy comes out of the cabin and you're like, "Hey, will you take the wheel for a second?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." You're like, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, cool." So you go over and you try to like grab one of the ropes, and you're like, "Oh, shoot!"
That's even better. You just gave him control of the boat. Yeah, he definitely just murdered your ass.
Well, just do the. I'll link the thing. It's Tgjan.com. I'll link it,
So what I'm
and then just
what I'm
try it.
hearing is, you know, if you're out in the middle of the ocean on a sailboat with your friend and your friend just tried to kill you, if you're wearing a life jacket and your friend doesn't bother telling anyone where he lost you, you're going to absorb a lot of water through your skin and you're going to get skin slip, and then, you know, if you're not eaten by a shark or something like that, you'll die of dehydration within 3 days and get horrible sunburn on the parts of your skin that are exposed. So I don't know which is worse.
Well, I'm sure
worse.
the
I mean,
guy
if you're
would try
not
to
wearing a
come back
life
for you.
jacket, then you know
You're
you know
making
you're
that assumption.
Well,
then your
yes,
friend will have
I
murdered
don't
you
think he- I
successfully, and
don't
you'll
think he
die
tried to
pretty
kill you.
quickly.
basically, just go to this site, try it out, and you'll.
I don't know why you're so defensive of your friend. He just tried to kill
he
you.
didn't
Why are
try
you
to kill-
protecting
Nobody
him?
tried to kill me. There's just. I went to this thing and I was so. No. I was surprised
I still have
by
a
how
life, but
involved I got in this, like, digital thing that, like, I know it's not real, but I was so, like, sucked into it, and, like, I was feeling what this guy is feeling, like, being stuck in the middle of the ocean, you know what I mean?
I'm trying to make a porn joke right now, but I think anything you can come up with in your imagination is better than anything I could say out loud, so.
Ooh la la.
Just saying.
I'm thinking about drowning right now, so my head's
Some
not
people
really.
get off on that.
My head's not really in the
Yeah,
same spot
that's-
as you think.
There was probably a site for that.
Oh, guaranteed.
I'm
there
sure
is.
there is.
Rule 34.
Did I ever tell you about the smotherfuckers when I worked at
No,
the,
but you should! This sounds awesome.
Yeah, when I worked at the funeral home and when I lived in Michigan, about once a year we would get what they call
Wait, you lived in Michigan? I'm making a joke,
like, wait a minute, we covered this. I remember covering this,
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Okay, continue.
but at least once a year we would get what the funeral directors would lovingly term as a smotherfucker, and these are the guys that strangle themselves while masturbating in order to achieve the ejaculation of a lifetime.
Choke and stroke.
And
Yes,
yeah,
choke and stroke.
apparently it's a thing,
Yep.
and it's supposed to be like really awesome, and yeah, it kills people. Because
Yeah, it killed David Carradine.
Yeah.
once you pass out, and you don't, if you're masturbating alone while doing this, you've got no one to untie the knot from around your neck, and you're gonna die. So
Wait. If you're masturbating alone while choking yourself, are you gonna
If
do
there's
that
like
in front of
nobody
people?
around that could hear your, you know, help me.
I'm gonna say if you're gonna strangle yourself while masturbating, you should at least make it a social event. That way, with the first person to pass out, you can wake them up and be like, okay, it's my turn now.
Or like, say you have like a significant other nearby, and you're like, yeah, this really gets me off. I'm gonna do it, but make sure I don't die. That kind of thing.
I think
unless you have a
at that
really
point,
good
you just have to feel terrible about yourself if whoever you're with is like, I'm gonna have to like mostly kill myself while jacking off to get off, but you just sit there and make sure I'm okay.
It has to
like,
die,
I
and then
feel
it
bad
has
about
to do
myself
with,
at that
like,
point.
and if you've got an
Apparently,
excellent,
I'm that terrible.
Just think about it though. If you have a really good insurance plan that covers suicide, then someone would be like, you know what?
But
I'm just gonna
Back
let
away.
you go.
It has to do with like
away.
it has to do with like oxygen levels in your brain or something. Like if
It's called erotic asphyxiation.
yeah, but I mean like
Yeah, 'cause
why
they
you feel
noticed
more
it when-
pleasure is because of the lack of oxygen.
Lack of oxygen in the brain, yes.
Yeah.
So when you climax, due to the lack of oxygen, it's almost like you're tripping while you're orgasming, and
Because
hence
they noticed this when
intensifies. Yes.
they first started hanging people way back
Yes,
when.
I know.
They noticed
I knew
that
we were going to go here. I knew this. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, they noticed that the men would oftentimes ejaculate all over themselves while they were being hung by the neck until dead, and so it got people thinking, hey, if it works for them, then maybe it'll work for me.
Yep.
I'm gonna not be able to get this mental image out of my head, but now, since this is where we went to, I'm picturing like some old West thing where they're getting ready to hang somebody, and the thing drops. He's like, alright, I'm just gonna try to do this real quick, and he just starts trying to rub one out before he dies.
No, there's no need to rub one out.
Their necks would break, and they would suffocate, and while that was happening,
they would get a massive
Bust a load,
erection and then ejaculate all over the place.
Yeah, no, I know that's how it technically is supposed to. I'm making it funny.
I know.
I
in a
thought
way.
you knew
way.
science.
God,
I'm always
let me
a
have
little
my
bit.
moment, okay?
I'm always a little bit upset when movies like will show a hanging and then like they'll show like the feet dangling and stuff like that, but don't ever show like any sort of like urine running down the leg or
Releasing
anything
the
like that.
bowels,
Like which is exactly what would happen once the person's dead and hanging there. It's like it's dying is not a clean break.
Have you ever seen the South Park episode, Something Walmart This Way Comes? It's an episode where Walmart moves into South Park, and they talk about how it's evil. And basically, in most South Park episodes, there's always a secondary plot that makes it funny. And that episode, people are killing themselves because Walmart is evil and it's forcing them to commit suicide. Well, the secondary plot is Cartman finds out that when you die, you release your bowels.
I thought that was the episode where Chef dies.
No, it's the Walmart one. So every time someone hangs themselves because Walmart tells them to do it, their body, flies out the window and they break their neck and they get, they hang there, and then immediately their pants fall to the ground and they shit all over the place. But it's funny because it's just the sound. It goes just everywhere. And I'll spoil this, but at the end, kind of like Amityville Horror, where Walmart basically just destroys itself into this a black hole, and when it disappears at the very end, it shits. It shits, and Cartman just starts laughing. So it sucks itself into to the abyss, and then it just implodes and disappears, and then you hear. And I know
I don't remember that ending like that. I need to watch that episode again.
I don't like over the top poop humor, but for that, just the fact that the whole episode, that one just I every time it happened, I just would lose it. You have to watch that episode.
Yeah, with them, it depends. It depends on how dark you're going. Like when your subject matter is you're showing people hanging themselves, you have to almost go to the most immature toilet humor type jokes just to offset the severity of the subject matter.
Well, it was like the episode Scott Tenorman Must Die, where he
I love that episode.
Kills his parents and
Absolutely
chops
love
them
that
up
episode.
and feeds them into a chili. And at the end, you're just like, what the fuck?
It's like,
well, he starts licking his tears.
Yeah, that was a really twisted episode. I have not seen South Park actually do something quite that twisted since then. They've done some weird shit, like the Sentai Pad thing. That was really weird, but not not so absolutely like.
Well,
Wow,
now it's
Cartman's a
more
terrible
topical.
person.
Back then, it wasn't as topical as it is now.
Yeah, they were more going for the shock and awe
Yeah.
for the first like 5 seasons, I think, and
But,
then they kind of found themselves.
But yeah, I just, it was funny because I remember watching that, and my roommate at the time was like, "What the fuck? Like, you don't know this happens when people, like, when they hang them?" It's like, no? Like, yes. I mean, they pretty much just release everything.
Yeah,
Both
that was
front and
always
back.
the most annoying part about working at the funeral home, especially when because the directors did pretty much everything on their own except when they had really really fat people. So they have really really fat people that have soiled themselves, and the directors are not able to roll them over so they can clean them properly. So they needed me, the funeral assistant, to go in there and help them roll these big tubbies over so they could actually spray them down with water to remove all the shit that's stuck between their rolls.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's it's pretty gross. Like, yeah, this is the part of the job I don't like. But aside from that, it was pretty interesting work. The things you don't think about when when you go. But ever since then, I've always wondered, like, okay, what am I gonna do when I go? Like, am I gonna leave a mess everywhere? Maybe what happens if I die on the toilet? Will it be clean then? I actually I had a guy do that. Well, I didn't have a guy, but we picked up a guy who died on his toilet. And aside from his decomp, the liquid from his decomp that was all over the bathroom floor, like he didn't actually have any soil on him, any fecal matter or urine, because it all went into the toilet.
Well, that's alright.
Like if we could have gotten to him like several days earlier, he would have been fine. Like it would have been like the most perfect pickup, but we got to him a little bit late, so he started his fat started to liquefy and
Just when I think there's nothing we can't touch on this podcast, we've found another path to go down. We are talking about human waste extensively.
This is kind of making me miss the conversations about the vulva perfume and the vagina makeup. I
hey,
never
pardon
thought
the
I
pun,
would
but
say
shit's
that.
I
real.
remember vulva, but what shit's real? Oh, vagina makeup. I don't remember this.
I remember
It was
that
from
because that was when that was number 50. That was while I was in Arkansas, because that's the part where my sister came home and she looked at me funny, and then she left again and didn't come back for 30 minutes.
Alienated your sister with vagina makeup?
Yeah,
No, I
she
think
was
she
like,
went to go
"Oh, I'm
order
here.
some."
I'll be on it." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And she pops in the earbud, and she's like, "Never mind. I will be back."
Nice.
Maybe I was a little too far gone for this part. How? What? Why?
So there was
Why?
a product that
It's
somebody
on
showed me
Amazon.
about on Amazon that's like makeup to make your vulva look young and pretty again.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
Apparently,
It's like
I still
lipstick
remember the
below.
phrasing. Unfortunately,
No, this is before that.
apparently genital color loss is a legitimate issue as you age.
Oh, we were
and
talking about
makes
the makeup.
women self-conscious.
Yeah.
So there's makeup for that.
Yeah, but what happens when you like decide to do something with?
If you read the reviews, you will find out.
No, I'm not going to.
It's pretty funny.
Good call.
I read an article, or I guess one of the review things from these sugarless gummy bears today, and there's like a warning on the package that's like,
Oh yeah,
eating
you read
these-
those?
Yeah, eating these might be like a laxative, might cause stomach discomfort and stuff. And there's like this guy, I watched a video of this guy who ate an entire bag in an hour, and then it's like him or an hour and 10 minutes or something, and he's like, yeah, so I finished it all, I don't feel super great right now, but we'll see how it goes. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like throwing up over the toilet, and then another 20 minutes after that, he's laying on his bed, he's like, well, I'm in a lot of pain right now. I'm on my side because that's the only way that I can lay without my stomach feeling like it's going to explode. And then he like goes on the toilet and he just like blows out everything. And leaves. Oh, I don't know. He ate 5 pounds of sugarless gummy bears though. Like, probably
Surprised
not.
you didn't go into a diabetic coma.
It's sugarless.
What the
There's
hell
no
is a
sugar
gummy
in it.
bear made of at that point? Because a gummy bear
Pectin.
is just a chunk of sugar.
Probably a lot of.
No, he's right. It's pectin. It's just like an early form of gelatin.
Yeah. How big is the pack? How many do you eat at a time? Well, maybe you're one of the few lucky people who are not insensitive to the sugarless gummy bears.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Mhm. Before we get into Ray's toilet habits here.
No, let's not do that.
It's
not
totally
open
fun
up
to talk
that
about the
can of
toilet habits
baby
of dead
worms.
guys, but as soon as we start talking about somebody that's actually here, that's off limits.
Yeah, too much.
It gets a little awkward because then once I know what your toilet schedule is, it's like I don't live with you. I don't need to know what your toilet schedule is.
I want to
But
change gears real quick. I want to bring this up.
Okay.
I think we've talked about streaming and getting rid of cable TV and all that in the past. I don't know if you guys heard today, but apparently Amazon struck a big deal with HBO. Have you heard this?
What? No,
Saw
I
something.
didn't.
Okay, as of May 21st, if you're a Prime subscriber, you're gonna have access to a lot of HBO content, like the older shows. So HBO's moving a lot of their old catalog onto Prime. So I think that's really big because Prime and Netflix, their services are kind of neck and neck in terms of content. They pretty much have the same stuff, but you're getting the entire series of The Wire, The Sopranos, Eastbound and Down,
a
Boardwalk
little bit-
Empire, True Blood.
That's kind of cool, but I'm a little bit sad that it's Amazon Prime doing it because I don't know. I guess because Netflix was like the first company to really start doing the whole instant stream thing on a grand scale. I guess I've just kind of rooted for them from the beginning. So it's a really great innovation, but I'm a little bit sad to hear that it's coming from Amazon Prime because they're already such a big fantastic.
Well,
company
Netflix
and
is going to be raising their rates this year.
Yes, I was actually just told about that yesterday, I think.
Look for it to go up $1 to $2 per month if you're a new subscriber. Old subscribers can hang on to the old rate for at least a year, so you'll be grandfathered in for a year.
That's sad.
But they're saying the reason why, we all know why, it's because Comcast, Time Warner, this whole merger thing's giving them power over content. And, I think we've talked about this in the past, why I know I have Comcast as my service, but they can suck a duck and suck a dick. It was supposed to be suck a dick. I just ruined the whole joke because I was reading while
What about a duck dick?
They are
a
scary.
9-inch duck dick is very
Corkscrew.
scary, yes. And,
It
yeah,
is.
corkscrew. That shit's scary.
Yeah.
That,
Do you know why it's corkscrewed and all fucked up like
yeah,
that?
so they can rape girl
Lady
ducks.
ducks. Sometimes they rape
ducks.
dead guy ducks.
Yes, they do.
They'll also kill chickens because chickens don't have penises, and when they mount
Ducks
a
are
hen,
sadistic motherfuckers.
They are some
They
scary,
are.
aren't they?
Ducks
Nature's
are scary,
almost,
man.
man.
yeah,
Damn,
ducks are
Mitch,
almost
you
as fucked
scary.
up as
I
otters
don't know
are.
what's wrong with
What's wrong with otters?
No, don't tell us what's wrong with otters because I like
Aw.
otters and I don't want you to.
You know that they.
You've already ruined
you know-
my
Do
hopes
it, Dark,
and dreams
do it.
for the
You
night.
know that
Don't
otters
told you
wear
that,
hands when they're
Facebook.
sleeping so they don't drift away from each other?
Drift away from each other. Aww.
That's so
Oh, it's so cute.
They're also notorious. They're also
Apparently so
notorious
are dolphins.
rapists,
Yep.
and they will
I'm not
act.
listening.
They will rape. They will rape females of their own species. They'll rape females of other species, and they'll also rape children of other species.
Why is it a
until they
pedo
die.
bear? Why isn't it a pedo otter?
That's not a nice
It's-
thing to do.
The pedo
Dark,
otter.
Yeah,
Just kill
otters are
Interesting.
Rivers?
otters are kind of like
They don't want
the
to
cute
solve
little assholes of the ocean, or rivers or wherever.
Yeah, they're
Wherever their
both.
natural habitat is of the water.
There are
They're
ocean
little assholes.
otters and river otters. So. Which ones
Oh,
are
there we
assholes?
go. They're both assholes.
I think we've
Dark
killed
Otters
Otters
are
LoZelda.
gonna
dying
take
so
it to
hard
Dark
to make me
TRTX.
sad. I don't understand what I did to you.
Man, you just have
Why
you've
is
turned
this
her
happening?
emo today.
Have you
Oh,
guys ever
God.
seen the True Facts videos on YouTube? Yeah,
No,
That's-
what are those?
that's how
Facts.
that's how I found out about the ducks and all that stuff. But there's a guy who has a series of videos that's called like True Facts, and so it's like True Facts about the duck or True Facts about the frog. Like there's
Yeah,
a
the
bunch of
ducks
different
one's
animals.
pretty fucked up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different animals. A lot of the time, he comes back to like their penises, which I don't know. He's got some weird obsession with that, but you learn some really neat stuff on there. So
Ooh.
yeah, look into
Speaking
that
of
sometime.
No!
weird news
No,
about
Dark!
penises.
No! I know
Did
what you're
anybody
gonna say.
see?
What?
Did anyone see my post about
God damn it!
the insects with the female penises and male vaginas?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like earth-shattering news from the natural world. This is the very first time something like this has been discovered and categorized. I don't remember the term now. They have a term for this when the females have a penis that sucks up the semen and other seminal fluids from the male over a course of 2 days. It's absolutely crazy.
I would get so
Didn't Arnold
bored.
Schwarzenegger have a baby though?
He did in that
Shut
one
the fuck
movie,
up. Yeah.
and it never explained where the umbilical cord attached to. I never really.
Yeah, because that was the only problem with it.
Yeah, the fact that he gave birth out of his butthole. Yeah.
I thought it was
Maybe
a
they attached
C-section.
the wound to like part of his intestine or something. I don't.
I was a little kid when I watched the movie. Okay, so
I don't
the
know,
only thing I
man.
thought was where does the umbilical cord
There are
attach
just some
to?
movies that when you watch when you hear about the premise, you're like, no, thank you, and that was one of them.
I was.
Okay, Junior, Schwarzenegger's gonna have a baby. Yeah, I'm done. Don't worry
That
about
was
it.
his
Yeah,
like.
good.
don't
Did he
need
do
now.
Kindergarten Cop around the same time?
That was actually kind of funny.
There was a lot of like. I was feeling nostalgic, so today I watched Little Giants. I know none of you guys have seen it, but it was like a staple.
Yes, I
of my
have. And
childhood.
do you know something? Do you know? Have you Googled recently Icebox?
Yeah, I
No.
know. She was in Poison Ivy.
She is. She's hot.
Yeah, I know. That's how. That's
That is the weirdest sound effect I've ever heard anyone make when talking about a hot
so
girl.
when I
Well,
hear
I've
like
heard
trying
some
to be-
sound
That
effects.
sounded like the
trying to-
motorboat
I'm
motorboat
Motorboy.
noise.
Yeah, exactly. A little motorboat.
so if anybody like doubts this, I'm kind of a creepy guy sometimes. And I googled
Shocking.
an actress from a Canadian television show that I thought was kind
Yeah,
of
I've heard of it.
You're right, that is
called
creepy.
Degrassi. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Anyways, it's like the school
Yes.
about like school kids, right? And so
Yes.
there's this girl who's around my age. I'm like, yeah, she's pretty cute. I would, want to Google pictures of her. So I I Google this girl. She's in the same movie that you're talking about. I think maybe if you saw it,
Which movie?
Poison Ivy, one of them.
Ah.
And she's in that, and I was like, oh, what's this? I'd never heard of it before, so I look into it. And then I see this other girl, her name's Shauna Waldron, and I was like, I recognize her. Where have I seen that girl before? And then
the cheerleading cousin?
no,
Is that
no,
who
it's
it is?
Icebox.
Someone else.
Okay.
So I look up Icebox, or like Shauna Waldron, and I see, oh, she's in Little Giants too. I was like, no way! Now she's doing like softcore.
No way.
It's insane.
I don't remember anything about Little Giants. That's another one I watched when I was
Rick
a kid.
Moranis
Great
was in
movie.
it, and Ed O'Neill.
I don't know. It must not have stuck with me. I don't know.
Ed O'Neill was
I
in
don't
it too.
remember anything about it.
He's kind of a jerk. I don't. I'm not gonna like go into it and explain it, but basically,
Yeah, I know I watched it. I just don't remember anything about it. It must not have been one of those movies that really stuck with me. But I just recently watched. What?
Well, I haven't been. I
Did you
can't
say
tell if my
really
mic's
loud? I
working
missed
now.
it.
You're working now.
Yes,
Was it
yes.
not working?
He's been
Yeah.
trying to talk for like the past 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing.
Well, I didn't. Something crashed on my mic and it wasn't working on all features.
Now you know how
So-
Wobway feels.
A chunk of my audio was just blank. I don't know what happened, but it's back now.
Hooray!
I'm Ron Burgundy.
So I
Shauna
just
Waldron.
recently watched Disney's the Atlantis movie, the cartoon,
oh yeah.
I
for the
love that
first
movie.
time
I've seen that.
since I didn't think I liked it that much until yesterday when I watched it because I hadn't seen it since VHS. I had it on tape when I was a kid, and I remember watching it and I liked it for the adventure, but the story and everything just didn't really make much sense to me at the time. So I rewatched it as an adult. And I'm like, this is a really good action
Wow.
movie. It's got some big plot holes in it, but aside from that, it's like, this is
like,
pretty fun.
like what? I haven't seen it in years.
How none of them know how to use their own technology. Like, you see them flying around on those hovercraft, before the big flood thing happens and Atlantis sinks. And apparently the king of Atlantis used this big crystal as a weapon, and that's what it caused it to backfire, and it sunk Atlantis. So this same king is still alive when the movie happens. He's still the king, but he's just an old man. So, but during the course of that period of time, even though all the people that were alive and survived that the sinking of Atlantis, they're still alive, and they should have known how to fly those
Still
vehicles.
alive.
They suddenly don't know how to read their own language, and they don't know how to operate their own machinery. So they're
It's
like much
because
more
the
primitive.
guy was blinded.
Maybe they just
Like,
haven't
that's
seen
just-
it in
that's
a
just-
while, though.
No, that's just one of the big plot holes. Like, wait a minute, because the main character Milo, he teaches the princess how to operate the machinery because he's a linguist and can read their language, even though the Atlanteans cannot read their own language. Like, wait a minute, you guys just established you have incredibly long lifespans, and like the king and the princess were both alive when Atlantis sank 1,000 years ago. How can they not read their own language and operate their own machinery? This doesn't make any
Maybe-
sense.
Do you think that
The
The Men in
well,
Black
maybe
thing for
amnesia was
1,000
part of
years?
maybe amnesia was part of the effects of the crystal.
They didn't mention anything about amnesia.
But think, like, if it was 1,000 years ago when Atlantis sunk, like, do you think you're still going to remember how to, like, operate some piece of machinery 1,000 years from now? Like, assuming you live that long, obviously.
Well, the premise of the movie is in the movie it talks about the princess explains to Milo that she's tried to get the machines working again, like these vehicles, and she's like inserted the crystal into the slot, put her hand on the panel, but never thought to turn the crystal to the side while having her hand on the
That
panel.
is a bit
And that's
funny.
something. And if you have 1,000 years to mess around with this stuff, you'd think you'd have tried all the winning combinations. So there's
Yeah,
just a lot.
Maybe she was
But I
just
mean-
like staring at it, trying to come up with another way. It's that thing that you do when you. No, I've already tried this, so it couldn't have been. It couldn't be that. That couldn't be the real.
Well, if
solution.
she was a stupid character, it would have made sense. But she's portrayed as a very intelligent person. So just the fact that she wouldn't have tried this, or she wouldn't have asked questions about why they don't know their own language anymore.
Maybe it was a conspiracy, like by the king, in order to.
I'm pretty sure what happened is that during production they had like two different directions they wanted to go with the movie, and they just for budget reasons had to compromise and just cut out a bunch of stuff. That's probably what happened there. But despite that, it was a really good movie. I'm definitely wanting to watch it again.
You're talking about a movie that was cut a lot that may have changed the plot. Do you guys remember the awful The Crow sequel, City of Angels?
No, I never saw that.
Okay. Well, it kind of kills the whole thing. But anyway, it was like basically when the movie was filmed, it was a 2.5-hour movie, and Miramax wanted them to chop it down to an hour. And so that pretty much killed the plot. And there was an actual director's cut that aired on cable during the era where a new movie would hit pay-per-view before it hit everything else. And the pay-per-view version, they actually showed the full 2 hours. And apparently it makes the movie so much better. But the movie as it stands now, what was released in theaters and you buy on disc and online, is just total crap.
Wait, you can't
I mean,
buy
it's missing
the
so
normal
much.
full version online?
No, because it's the content, like the removed content, is not on any disc. Miramax won't release it. Apparently, there was one version of it that was released during pay-per-view, and there are a few people that recorded it, and so they tape traded it for a few years.
Excuse me.
So it's like twice the time, and it's actually a decent movie because it delves into the plot more. And if you've ever seen the first movie, the first Crow movie, it's kind of the same premise, which is silly, but it actually the director did a decent job in this one in creating a backstory and the characters. Like they developed the characters, but talking about movies, it really chopping them up and kind of takes away from it. So that's one that I was actually reading about it a couple days ago. That's what it popped in my head. So.
I hate that
Speaking
they
of
have to
movies-
change the movies just for the constraint of time when it ruins
Well,
so many
that's the studio.
stories.
That's the studio's doing though when that happens.
It's funny that did happen, especially since we're seeing a trend for movies to have either much longer running times, or now they're even doing them because of the Harry Potter series and because of the Avengers series, where they're breaking movies up into like pieces as if they're high production television shows or something like that. So it's interesting that happened then. I wonder if they would have made the same decision now if they were to have made that movie present day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked movies. It's a good thing, at least for some movies. It has to be a good enough movie, but if you have to make the call between, we're gonna have to split this movie here, or we're gonna have to like cut it down so it's not 6 hours in the theater, then I think I'd rather have it split, but I don't want it split over 3 movies just to, hey, okay, we can do it 3 movies now. Which,
Well,
I
that's
think The Hobbit
yes,
feels like
I can
that.
understand that, but sometimes they'll just I don't know if the studio gets too involved or something, but there'll be a movie that hits theaters and it'll be just completely shit, and then the director's cut will come out and it may be max 15 minutes longer, but it's been re-edited and just kind of restructured, and suddenly it's the most amazing thing since, I don't know, sliced bread, whatever. It's just a fantastic movie, and you're like, how the hell did the theatrical release even happen when
Because
this
it's
movie was in
controlled
there?
by
I'm
2
trying to
different
think.
people. The actual director
I'm
of
trying
the
to think
movie is
of
like,
the-
I'm going to do this the right way. You business people go release whatever you want. I'm just going to complete the movie, make it good, and then release it to everyone else.
Sound like Abed.
What? Sound like what?
Abed.
Who?
I'm trying to think of the name of the movie that I'm actually talking about right now, but all that's coming to mind is Kingdom of Heaven, and I know that's not the right movie. This is the one that has Keira Knightley in it, where she dresses up in the blue body paint.
Avatar? Now, speaking of movies that never saw the light of day, the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
ever-
No, that aired. That aired.
Yeah, like one time, and then
Yeah, once.
it's never been seen from
Oh,
again.
I
I got a digital copy of it one time.
King Arthur.
Watched like 15
Sorry.
minutes, and it was so bad. Like, I couldn't even finish it. I turned it off. I didn't even want to watch it out.
Did it have any of the official quote-unquote cast?
Oh, yeah. Everybody was there.
Wow.
Yeah, but there was like Chewbacca's family and stuff. I think that was the point. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
There's like 3 Wookiees all talking to each other like, ah,
That's the whole
That's
movie.
not-
It's not even...
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know.
No.
It was terrible. That's why it only aired
But
one
the,
time.
and hopefully it never saw the light of day
I
again.
wonder if it's on
Well,
YouTube somewhere. It probably is.
There's some like bootleg copies and stuff that floated around for a while. They tried to get rid of it all, but
The eradication of the movie.
Eradicated. The movie I was trying to think of, I just had to look it up, is King Arthur.
Yeah.
The theatrical version is utter shit, but the director's cut is actually really good.
I never make...
Is that-
I never make a point to... not... Since until now, I've never really made a point to like, oh, it might be different. I just kind of seen like director's cut, even on a game director's cut. I didn't know there was that much of a difference between each version.
have you ever seen Sex Drive?
No.
At the
I have not.
They have like the director's cut or whatever. At the start of it, they say there's like the director and one of the other guys, like one of the producers, I think. They do this little disclaimer. They're like, "This is not a regular unrated version. Like you see, like an extra boob here or there. This is completely different. If you haven't seen the original version, don't watch this yet. Go watch that one first." And so, like throughout it, there's like random naked people walking through, and like shots of just like there's some dude
Like,
with like a giant black dick just like swinging around in front of the screen for no reason at all. Just because
It's like a Euro trip,
Yeah.
unrated.
Yeah.
Where it's just penises
They're like,
everywhere.
fuck it.
That is a funny.
It was
joke.
actually, I don't know. I really do like that Euro trip movie. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the one you're talking about,
Yeah, Eurotrip.
but there's just something about it. Like, it's a stupid movie, but it's just the right combination of stupid that I don't know. I can
they
watch
try
that
to be
anytime.
stupid instead of it just ending up that way.
They didn't take it too seriously.
That's the key.
I think that's what it is. Like, it's a movie that does not take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas, if it was like a Jack Black movie or a Jim Carrey movie or something like that, it just would not have worked. But it's lighthearted and it's just funny as shit.
Here's a fun fact. You made out with your sister.
You made out with your sister, dude. Yeah, or the Pope hat that gets caught on fire, or yeah, it just
There's a lot of good
there's
bits
just
in
so
that, for
many
sure.
little things. That creepy guy on the train
Yeah.
who tries to molest the other
Buongiorno.
guy. No, me scusi, me scusi.
Excuse me.
Like it's the stupidest movie. It's one of the stupidest movies, but it's done so well, and that's so rare for me. I usually cannot stomach stupid movies, but that one just like it gets me. It gets my sense of humor, and I can
Were
deal
you
with
ever
it.
drunk the first time you watched it?
I was not. No, I was completely sober the first time I watched it.
Ah.
Actually, I don't think I've watched it drunk. I'm sure it's much better when you're drunk.
I just drink a lot now and then watch it afterwards.
Nah, I don't want to watch it tonight. I've got stuff I was planning on doing. Things.
Certain things.
Yeah. I was gonna do some Minecraft, but I don't know if I'll be up to that. So I've had a lot to drink today. See, I started repainting my bathroom. Well, I primed it yesterday, so I was high on oil-based primer yesterday, and then I painted one of the walls today. So I was all up in the paint fumes today, and then I'm like, yeah, I've all I can smell is paint. I need some beer to wash the smell of paint out of my sinuses. And so I've had a whole lot to drink today, so I don't know how much Minecraft I'll be able to actually do. I might just curl up on the couch and fall
You
asleep.
should probably crack a window or something instead of breathing in all those fumes. You'll end up like a Mad Hatter or something.
Mad as a hatter, I will be.
Yeah.
This
is
podcast,
Dry
we see
One
Dark
Dark.
slowly digressing, and then by like the 60th, he can't even like say the intro correctly.
Just starts like
This-
You're gonna
yelling.
come back one time and be like,
What?
"Stop."
Yeah.
My name is
He's like,
My name is Drake One Dark, and this is the podcast.
Who said that? Who said
We're
that?
here on Queer Let's Podcast.
Who do I have with me today?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is here? I don't know. These people. We're here to do the podcast. And this
I'm gonna
thing.
cut. Wait.
How did you
I have
get
an
really
idea. I'm gonna
messed up
cut
there?
that and then use that as the intro first.
Good dude.
Yeah.
False advertising.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You fool.
That would be pretty good, though. Yeah, I hope you do that. That would be pretty funny. I actually listened to our podcast, the last podcast. I actually listened to it from beginning to end. It's like the first one I've ever listened to. I was playing.
How was it?
It was actually pretty entertaining. What game was I playing?
That's Xbox.
No. It was a board game. I was playing a board game online. I wanted to learn how to play this. It's hexagonal
might know it.
tiles.
Oh yeah.
On
Hexing.
No, hey, that's something
No.
completely different.
It's a board game.
Oh,
so you have
Settlers
this
of
island.
Catan.
Yes, Settlers of Catan. That's what I was playing. I learned how to play that last week, and so I've just kind of periodically been playing it online throughout last week and this week whenever I have some free time, because there's a game store here in Raleigh where a bunch of nerdy people come together to play board games, and I was looking at the card games they were playing and whatnot. I'm like, I don't get into card games, but I love board games. And like when I was a kid, we played them all the time with my family. And since moving here, I haven't been able to play board games or play like cards, like real cards, not collectible cards,
Like
with anybody.
and stuff.
So yeah, real cards, not Yu-Gi-Oh. So I got kind of excited when I found this place because they play board games and things like that. I'm like, well, I need to learn how to play one of these games
wants
they
to play
play. So I'm like,
Caravan
Settlers of
RTS?
Catan. That sounds really interesting. It's got some strategy.
Is it
It's got a little
difficult?
bit of like almost like role playing
It's
elements.
it's
You're
almost
settling
worse
down.
for like friendships and families than Monopoly.
But it's so much shorter. It's
Yeah.
so much shorter than
How
that's why I like it.
definite is the time limit? Is it like a set amount of turns, or is it go until?
No. It's not turn based. You have the board is randomized every time you play it. The resources, there's 5 different types of resources, and they're randomly scattered on the island each time. And each one is given a certain number. You roll 2 dice, and depending on the number that you roll, if you have a settlement next to one of the tiles that has the matching number, when you roll the dice, you get a resource from it. And then you use those resources to build new roads, build new cities, or upgrade your existing cities. And the goal of the game is to get to 10 developmental points. So each regular city is worth 1 point. Each upgraded city is worth 2 points. You get an extra point if you have the longest uninterrupted road. And you can get cards from the deck. You spend resources to draw cards from the deck, and you can get developmental points from there. But typically, from my experience, they last anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour most. So it's so much easier to play than Monopoly. Because Monopoly, I've had a 5-hour Monopoly
I've had
session
one
before.
where we had to
it's just ridiculous.
come back after multiple days, after hours and hours of playing it, and then okay, it's getting late. We might as well stop now and put it off till tomorrow.
Yeah, I've never done that. When I play Monopoly with friends like that, it's always like when you decide to finally quit playing, whoever's winning at that time actually wins, because we're not going to start playing it again later. And that's always the way it's gone.
I think
So the longest I've ever played Monopoly is about 5 hours.
the longest game I actually played was not Monopoly. It was a game of Uno. It was like me
What?
sitting over.
Uno can go on for a
It
long
was like 4 other people. We were all playing, and the game was not ending because everyone couldn't get Uno because everyone was specifically trying to gang up on the person that had only one card. So just by the card,
So
the
you
way the
would drop
cards
a
were
draw
going, we
two
were
or draw
shuffling
four
each
card.
time the stack ran out, and the stack ran out multiple times. But it went hours and hours and hours, and it wasn't just plain Uno. It was a game called Uno Attack, where you
I've
press
seen
a button
Risk for a
and
few
you kept
days.
shooting.
That doesn't
cards.
really count. Uno
Yeah, I
Attack
remember
doesn't
that.
count as Uno. You've lost cool points. No.
No, that's
It doesn't
what it
count.
was.
I can understand that. Risk is a pretty awesome game, but I don't think the original board game can actually be played several days unless you're just
Why not?
playing it at a glacial
It
pace.
can be, for sure.
I don't know, my friendship ruining game is
What about
Phase
Mario
10.
Party?
Fuck.
Never even
That
heard
game.
of that.
It's like Uno on crack.
I do like Phase 10. It's if it's played with the right people.
I
God,
love my best friend. We're like practically sisters. She was my maid of honor. I was her maid of honor. We've been friends for, like a decade and whatever. Like since she was my first friend when I moved to Michigan, and we've been friends forever. And we played that together, and we didn't talk to each other for 3 days. It was that was not a good game.
Yeah, you have to go in when you start a game. You have to have dialogue with each other. Like, look, no matter what we do to each other in this game, we leave it at the table. We can't stay mad at each other.
In her defense, though, I wasn't talking to my husband by the time the game was over either.
Well, I can understand that.
she-
I've played
She'd never come home with me.
I come from a family of really sore losers who take competition very seriously, so I can relate to that actually. Just not being able to tolerate.
Wait, are you
the
saying
people
that
you
you're a
played the
very
game
sore
with.
loser, or that
Yeah.
Like, and if
in particular?
No, just my family in general. I've been banned from playing certain games with them because I'm like, why are you guys so upset? It's only a game, and they're like, it's not only a game.
I'm a
Like,
bad.
if that's your attitude. You don't even play with us.
I'm a bad loser,
Like,
but
well-
I think I'm probably a worse winner. Because
Oh, see,
I'm a
that's
total
even worse.
asshole.
That's fucking worse.
I know.
If you're a sore winner,
Wait, sore winner?
then
I'm not a sore winner. I just I really dig it in. Like, I hate losing, but
that's
I have to
called,
win.
that's
seriously
called
when
being
I
a
talk
sore
shit.
winner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you rub it in
Whoa.
everyone's face when you win, that's called being. That's what I refer to anyway as being a sore winner.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I will
I-
do things.
I try to
I
do
will
it
do
just
things
enough
to
that
you.
you'll keep playing, so that you know what I mean.
Of
You
all
just
the
scared
people to
nobody.
threaten that, Dark is not the one you
Like,
want to say that.
I'll just
Fill in action here.
I just
It depends on what it is. Cigarette butts in your beer, or whatever,
Oh,
whatever it
that's
is
the
that you're.
worst.
It's like whatever it is that you're doing. If you are a sore winner, I will find a way to make your life
please play
miserable,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
at least
against
for a
me.
little
I'll-
bit of
If-
time.
if
I'll
I'm-
try to get you to keep playing again so that I can beat you again.
Sweet,
If I'm
man,
playing
we'll
in
play
a
chess.
group of
Yeah, remind me to never play a game
Not
with
the
you.
best.
Yeah,
because
it's a bad
you
idea. Don't
Probably
play.
genuinely
I don't
piss
do
me
golf.
off.
Don't play against me.
So wait, Nobod, you you're saying
I'm
you're
not
the
good at it.
master of Yu-Gi-Oh? That's what you're saying?
He's the master debater.
I have a bunch
Uh-huh.
of cards, but I wouldn't even know what to do with them. I just own them.
I just found somebody at work found an app today called Quiz Up,
Quiz up.
and it's like, it's like a game you play against like your buddies or like random internet people, and there's like 400 some odd topics, and you just like pick a topic, and then it gives you a little like 7-question quiz, like multiple choice, and you face off against whoever you're playing. So if it's like at work, there was like 7 of us today just sitting around like playing this on our phones, and you get the weirdest like things. So somebody's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about this." It's like, answer the questions anyways.
I could never get into those. Like my coworkers, I saw this more when I worked at CarMax. My coworkers would play shit like that all the time, and then they would come up to me and ask me random questions. I'm like, "Why are you asking me this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's for this
No,
game
this
that I'm
is-
playing on my phone."
This is timed. You only have like 10 seconds per question.
Oh, see that would work
Yeah.
because with the way CarMax is set up, or when I was set up in the detail shop, we were all had bays right next to each other.
Yep.
So whoever was in the bay next to me could just kind of like step over and be like, "Hey, what's this?" It's weird. I've never gotten into those types of games. That's what I would call a serious casual game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Also saw a review of the Elder Scrolls Online today, and it kind of depressed me a little bit. Like they didn't really have anything positive to say about it.
They really aren't doing much to fix the issues that have happened since release. I mean,
Yeah, and that's what I've been hearing, and it's breaking my heart a little bit because you know me, I've had nothing but positive things to say about the Elder Scrolls series in general since we've been doing these podcasts, and like I've always felt that being able to do an Elder Scroll game online with multiple people would. It always sounded like a really good idea in theory, and just watching Bethesda drop the ball like they're doing, it's really like hurting me on the inside. Like, really, why can't you just do this the right way? Why?
It was so close.
You
I
either-
was looking forward to it so much, and there's like, there's little things that they could have done that would have made it so much better. I think they almost tried to do too many things like other MMOs that didn't fit Elder Scrolls at all, instead of just putting Elder Scrolls online.
Well, the biggest complaint that this particular review that I was looking at today was talking about how they're trying to make it feel like you're the only one that can save the world.
There's like
when
50 other people.
It's a MMORPG, and there's all these other people there. So how
no
can
longer the one at that point.
they're just doing it in the most retarded way possible. If you're doing an MMORPG, you don't say you're the savior, because obviously you're not going to be the savior. You're going to have a whole bunch of other people working with you, and they're talking about where they were going on trying to do a quest, and there were like literally people lined
that's
up
awful.
to
There's
do
like
this
50 other
particular
people.
quest.
It's either you're going to run into two situations. Either there's going to be 50,000 people, and you're going to be waiting to kill that boss or that treasure chest, or it's going to be a separate instance from everyone else, and you can't have any help from that from other people.
well, you forgot 3, which is the quest could be bugged, and you'll have to restart the damn
Or it'll
thing
be
like
bugged,
8
and
times
it's
to
just
get
going to
it
be
to work.
bugged. There's no restart. You just have to
Yeah.
maybe come back the next day. Maybe it's fixed by then.
It blows my mind that like Adam, the tech guru for Rooster Teeth, he posted this a couple weeks ago where he stumbled upon early stages. I think he was in his first 15 levels where he had to deal with quests that it took him. He had to restart the game like 8 or 9 times for the chain. And these were mainline quests. These were part of the actual main chain, and that's just ridiculous. Those things should have been fixed before release. It's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like they've taken all of my hopes and dreams for what a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game could be like, and they've just like thrown it on the rocks and dashed it to pieces right in front of my face. And I was dreading how much time it was going to take away from me, but now at the same time I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not going to be able to like experience this thing that was going to be Elder Scrolls Online in the same way that I was going to. I may not even buy it now. I was planning on buying it before. Now I'm just kind of standing on the sidelines thinking maybe I don't want to invest.
I'm still really slightly holding out for they just wanted to get it out so they could stop doing it, but then they're going to eventually have enough updates to get it together.
And the thing that gets me too is why are the races like against each other now? They have like 3 against 3 against 3.
This war happened a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
I don't know any specifics because I didn't bother to go into the story as much as any of the other games, but it is a very long time before even Morrowind happened. So there was this big territory war.
Yeah, that part makes sense from a RPG standpoint where you have different factions and whatnot, and you want to have equal number of races per faction, yada yada yada. But in the Elder Scrolls universe, it feels very forced.
Especially with some of the matches when like in Morrowind, Khajiit and Argonian are like slaves and
second-rate classes.
Yeah, and I'm one of those persons that likes to read all of the in-game books and whatnot. I haven't read the actual books, but but there's never any mention of the events that happen in the Elder Scrolls Online in any of those. Like, so it's like they're just making history up right now just to make it work, and they're not really adding to their already really rich experience of the Elder Scrolls universe. They're
definitely jumping off of the fact that it's so long ago. Everything's totally different now. They kind of did that with Old Republic. Star Wars: The Old Republic they put it so far away from any of the stuff that's actually known, so they can just kind of mess around with the story.
It's like, we can do anything. See, it's set long time ago. We have free reign to do whatever the fuck we want, regardless of whether or not it makes sense. That's just bad storytelling. Like, at its worst. Storytelling at its worst.
That's why I'm sure Chaos will recommend it. MMO-wise, WoW is the standard still. Star Wars: The Old Republic is very underrated,
I love the way that they make... It's one of the only ones where I would actually pause what I'm listening to listen to a little bit of the main story, just because you can control what you say, and then it's like Mass Effect, and you can actually get light or dark points
in Dragon Age
and become a good Jedi or a bad Jedi, or a good Sith or a bad Sith, and all the army and other classes.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really been. I'm not a Star Wars person. Like I like Star Wars, but I've never been a fan enough to actually want to invest in any of the games.
You don't necessarily have to be a fan of Star Wars at all to like the format of this MMO. That's how good I think it works.
Well, I have to feel invested in the game world before I can actually get involved in playing. I guess
they even present the Star Wars world, because it's not anything like the Star Wars that you would know. It's presented in a different way. I would suggest to give it a try, but I can understand if you're not as fan of the Star Wars, because I started playing it as a really good fan of Star Wars, and having played Star Wars Galaxies already, so that's what made me like it so much.
But if you're not a fan of the content, like if you do not like this Star Wars universe, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, that's you're not gonna. I mean, you really can't take much from it other than unless you're more into the technical side of an MMO. That's the only thing I could think of why you would like it.
The Star Wars universe, it suffered, in my mind anyway, it feels very much like, kind of like the same issues that the Star Trek universe has, where it has its own rules that make sense to the people that are following it and to itself, but the whole thing just seems kind of silly to me. Like, I can watch any of the movies except for the second one. The second movie, Star Wars Episode 2, was just retarded, but I can watch pretty much any of the other movies and be okay. I can watch it for what it is and be like, yeah, I had a good time watching the movie. It was great, but I could suspend disbelief for that period of time. But as far as getting emotionally invested into the universe itself, it just the established universe just seems kind of silly.
They have so many different. They have so many different games and versions of the thing that it's a very malleable universe. It changes depending on where you come at it from.
I've yet to actually see any story come out of it that it's actually really hooked me. They all come from to me it feels like a very a cookie cutter generic science fiction type storyline where people are like, yeah, if you like Star Wars, you'll really like this. I'm like, but I don't really like Star Wars.
It's kind of the basis. It did things first, so other things are more copying it than it is being the normal. It's doing what it's always done when other things try to do similar things.
I don't know, just I'm using an example, but Star Wars in and of itself, with the games, movies, whatnot, it feels very generic to me. I like the creativity behind it, but even the creativity only goes so far. As the characters go, the characters all feel very generic to me. I can't really connect personally with any of them. I watch it more as a spectator sport. And Star Trek also feels a lot that way to me. The only movie in that same genre that ever actually pulled me in was, believe it or not, was Galaxy Quest, just because it did not take itself that seriously. So I could actually connect with it a little bit better because it wasn't just full of forced angst.
Galaxy Quest.
So I could actually roll with that.
The Galaxy Quest made the list of the best Star Trek movies, and it was above other actual Star Trek movies.
I did see that. I saw that list somewhere, and I was genuinely surprised and confused. How can that count as a Star Trek movie?
Some Trekkies really don't like.
Well,
the other movies. Yeah, I was talking with a friend of mine one time, and he's big into Star Wars, and we were just kind of hanging out, and this was at work, and we weren't really talking or anything. And I look at him, I go, if I walked into a park and saw a fight going on between a bunch of Star Wars nerds and Trekkies, I'd probably have to jump in on the Trekkie side. And he just looks at me, he's like this big gasp, and I was like, Not that I'm really invested in one or the other, but
I don't know if I could actually make a judgment like that. I would say I would want to go more for the Trekkie side, just because in general, the Trekkies seem to be a little bit more. I don't want to say intelligent, but they're more detail oriented.
It seems like there's not the universe itself isn't as full. They're mostly always on the ship or doing other stuff. It feels like maybe not in the movies themselves, but in all the other forms of, or a lot of the other forms of media, they flesh out, because there's so many parts of the Star Wars universe. They can flesh out different storylines, different planets, different worlds, and they actually kind of go more into that universe. It feels like the Star Trek is a lot more condensed. Yes, they're still going throughout their universe, but
Star Trek is anything but condensed, at least from all of its different versions. Now, I'm not a fan of Star Trek at all. It bores me to tears, but Ken is a big Star Trek fan, so I've watched several episodes, while eating dinner, things like that he's been playing, has had playing when I come home, or just have him describe the overall thing. And with all the various TV series and movies and whatnot, it's a very complex and very it is an interesting universe. The Star Trek universe is very interesting to me. What kills me with Star Trek is how they mostly focus on the universe itself, and the characters are all like two-dimensional, shallow, cookie cutter, and void of any personality type things.
I don't think you
I
watched
cannot.
Star Trek.
I cannot connect to the characters at all. I'm told that what's the series where the chick that's
Voyager.
is the main character, and they get lost in space. Yeah, Voyager. I'm told I would probably like that better, but aside from that, I really can't connect with the other characters from the various other iterations. They just don't feel human enough to me. Whereas with Star Wars, it's much more of a spectator type of movie for me. And I enjoy the visual effects, but again, I also have the same problem with the characters, where the characters in Star Wars seem to be even worse than the characters in Star Trek.
Except for one of the characters that was in this one specific game, there's not really been any character that have been really far behind. I guess, General Grievous and Count Dooku just because they did kind of interesting things in the movies, but not exactly behind them as a character necessarily.
Yeah, they were interesting characters, and I would love to have seen a movie that really kind of let you get to know who the villain is. Yeah,
well, in Star Wars canon, Count Grievous, has a very general. I mean, he has a very good backstory. I'm sorry, I'm watching the Rockets.
The Rockets, obviously.
Nice.
Grievous has a very good backstory, and if you ever have a few minutes, just go look up the Star Wars wiki on it. It's because he wasn't always an android.
Put into a droid at some time.
Or cyborg. Yeah.
Right, but that's the thing that's always annoyed me about it, is like there's these really cool stories behind these other characters, but when it comes to their film versions or their game versions, they fall short. They don't really sell it.
I'm in a book.
Well,
I mean,
that's the problem,
those movies were pretty long. Do you want them to like break it up into even more movies just to make it longer?
I would prefer quality over anything else.
Yeah, but George
and
Lucas hasn't done quality in like 20
No,
years.
I know. Yeah, anything that if it's got George Lucas's name attached to it, I know that hey, it's going to be kind of interesting. I just have to suspend my disbelief for everything, and I'll have a good time.
Back to like the South Park bit. There was when they redid Indiana Jones in South Park. He's like, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be terrible, and he's like, it might be. It might be the worst thing you've ever seen. And they're like, yeah, it will be. And then he goes, but it might be the most incredible thing you've ever seen. They're like, oh, maybe it will be. And then everybody goes and watches it, and at the end they're like, that was terrible! That's basically every George Lucas project.
I'm not a fan. Okay, I've never been a fan of the Indiana Jones series in and of itself. And so when I watched the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I agree that it was not a good movie, but I didn't think that it was like the worst Indiana Jones movie. The Temple of Doom I thought was much worse than this one.
Temple of Doom was like the trendsetter. That's what made Indiana Jones.
Okay, let me make sure I'm talking about the right one.
I think you're thinking of The Last Crusade.
The one with the little Indian kid. And the
short round.
And that the little Asian kid, and the actress who's constantly bitching through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. I thought that was like one of the most shitty movies.
Really?
It annoyed me from beginning to end. I did not enjoy it at all.
Sean Connery just, I don't know, man. That guy, I'm gonna say it. He's very overrated. Very overrated.
He is. The only thing good about Sean Connery is the way he speaks.
Yeah.
He was pretty
just
good
because
at
I talk like this, everyone thinks I'm sexy.
Sean Connery.
He's a good Bond.
He made a much better Dragon than he did Bond, I think.
Dragon?
Yeah, it
Dragon. What was it called?
Dragonheart.
Dragonheart.
Draco from Dragonheart. He was the voice.
That
You can leave the podcast now.
that was out
Go
on
away.
VHS, wasn't it? Like when it
It was
first came out.
No, it was in theaters when it first
Well,
came out.
yeah,
then
but
to VHS.
It was like it came out during the era of VHS.
Yes. It came out like 2 or 3 years after Jurassic Park. They realized after Jurassic Park came out that hey, we can actually do the visual effects for this dragon movie now, which we've been wanting to do but have not done because the budget was just too crazy. And yeah, so that happened.
Yeah.
I did watch the Dungeons and Dragons live action.
Oh, you
Marlon
shouldn't have
Wayans?
done that.
Marlon Wayans?
Yeah, that was
Oh.
wasn't a very smart move there, buddy.
Well, he's made a lot of weird
No.
movies, so.
It's like me. The worst 25 minutes I've ever spent in a movie theater was Freddy Got Fingered,
Yeah,
and I
I
walked
saw
out
the
of that movie.
commercial and knew I would hate that movie, and I never bothered to see it.
I just I walked out of that movie, and the manager happened to be walking down the hall. I was like, "Everything all right?" I said, "No." Is there a problem? I said, "This is the worst fucking movie I have seen in my life."
Oh gosh.
Oh, well, we're sorry. I'm like, no, seriously, I want my money back. I asked for my money back. I was like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. No one could tell me, oh, you have to watch the whole thing through. You can't. No, that movie was just stupid. It was stupid.
Probably.
It was just somebody gave Tom Green too much money and too much power to do whatever he wanted, and he took a dump on set. That's basically it. I mean, no. If he would have taken a big shit on set, it would have been more appealing.
You know he was married to Drew Barrymore for a while?
Like a year.
Ooh.
Then she sobered up. Yeah.
Ew, no, I didn't. Not that Drew Barrymore is, like any sort of amazing, but at least she can act when she tries. But, ew, no. Mm-mm.
The talking out of the side of her mouth thing kind of bothers me. It just creeps me out a little bit. I don't know why.
And her weird
Yeah,
thing with Adam Sandler.
She was in several of his movies. I liked her and him in 50 First Dates, believe it or not. It's one of the few movies.
That movie.
What was that, Zelda? What?
She hated that movie.
Hated that movie.
Why did you hate that movie?
I will be, I'm not an Adam Sandler fan, so that probably didn't
Neither
happen.
am I.
I was just, no, I just did not
thought,
like it.
I thought that movie had more imagination behind it, but at the same time it had a very creepy vibe to it that it never really shook. Like if she can't remember you, but you're, wanting to marry her, and especially like when after they do wind up getting together, she can't remember who she is. Like, and then it just jumps to her in the future where she's had the baby. Like,
Spoiler alert.
that would have been awful. Waking up every morning and wondering why you're pregnant.
Yeah, but she was painting pictures of him.
that's...
Like she knew who he was somewhere, just not on the surface of.
I got that, and that part made sense, but it still doesn't shake the creepy
because
factor.
she was trapped in a specific day.
Yeah.
Her mind was.
Yeah.
So she goes from, suddenly being updated what's happening with her life,
Wow.
and then she basically resets the past, several years, or months or year or whatever, and she's pregnant. Can you imagine how freaked out someone would really be?
Oh, probably.
It's like, that would have been absolutely horrible. At least if, you grow old in a mental institution or something like that, like you wake up and things are weird enough where okay, something's up here, but you wake up and suddenly you're like, why am I pregnant? Like, oh, I don't remember anything that happened up to this point in time, but apparently I fell in love with this guy and he knocked me up and now I've got a baby and...
So it's okay.
No, there's something very not okay about that.
Yeah, what if he, kidnapped her and, tied her up and then...
She's just taken his word
his
for
word
it.
for it, right? That's why, it's kind of... I was actually thinking about this when we were talking about it. Have you ever seen Memento?
No, I have not.
It's what put Christopher Nolan on the map before Batman. But you have to watch it because it's a guy that's affected by the whole thing with the short-term memory, and he basically keeps track of everything on his body and in notes. And the story is kind of Tarantino-esque in that there's not one. It doesn't present itself in one straight timeline. It's kind of broken up and it skips back and forth. But the skipping back and forth creates one whole plot from start to finish, and it just the ending will just blow your mind. So, Dark, if you have time, just watch it. It's a good movie.
Memento?
Memento, yes. But it's kind of the same thing where the short-term memory thing is like you have to take someone's word for it. Well, he has to ultimately take his own word for it, and there are times where you question whether should he trust himself or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything or give you the plot, like the full plot, but there are points where you ask that question. It's like, and that's kind of what you're talking about. When Zelda said, "Well, she has to take this stranger's word for it." As far as
in the 51st Dates movie, she left herself like a video diary, and then she had her own diary. But at the same time, that got me thinking. If you have an entire year of diary entries, and you want to catch up with what you've done, that's a hell of a lot of reading. So eventually you wake up and you do nothing but read. And then you're like, okay, so I'm going to meet this guy that I've read about. That would be creepy as hell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I still like the movie. I think it's a really interesting premise, but I can't shake that creepy factor away from it.
It is kind of creepy.
Oh, guys, we have been going we're like 20 minutes over. We need to wrap this thing up.
Wrap it up, yo.
Let's see, Tgjan Lee's not here to do his little spiel. Does anyone else want to do the spiel about,
LoZelda, you want to do this?
In a damn tarp.
You want to do the shtick?
Yeah. Yeah, since you're the one that messaged him and found out that he was in a tarp, you should do his little
Oh,
shtick.
you can't trust me to use words properly right now.
Use your words.
No,
it's okay if it comes out wrong.
No, alright, the forum thread, we have stuff in places, and you should go look at it on Facebook, and because it's in a place on Facebook, and there's a thing on Twitter.
LoZelda, where can I find it on Facebook?
I fucking Google it, man. This is what you get for making me do it.
Alright,
people are mad at Tgjan for not being here.
Facebook / the forum thread, Twitter @ the forum thread, email theforumthread@yahoo.com.
SoundCloud.
That covers it pretty well, yeah.
SoundCloud / the forum thread.
See, that's why I bookmark all this stuff. So
YouTube / the forum thread. And on YouTube, by the way, we are at Podcast 54, but we have over 100 videos now, thanks to the 96 that Webwave has posted this week alone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't thank him for that. No. Yeah, I'm not going to thank him for that. Yeah, we have a lot of shit.
And if you're wondering how we can have 100 videos on our channel and be on Podcast 50-something, but Webwave still posted 96, join the club.
We're all confused here. Just be happy if you can't find what you're looking for, just click to the category tab. And you'll be able to find all the podcasts together, all the Webwave shit together, and then all the other stuff together. It makes sense that way.
Yeah.
Hooray! And with that, we bid you all a good night. We will see you again, same time next week. Good night, everybody.
Peace out, bitches.
Night.